your deck profile for domain, you will be entered in the giveaway. Then in 1 week on next Friday, we'll do a giveaway stream and I'll spin the wheel to see which lucky deck profile is going to be getting this playmat.
Ranger Storm! Ranger Storm!
My deck master is Machina Fortress. Having Machina Fortress as your deck master gives you access to the Machina or Machina archetype, along with all Earth attribute monsters and all machine type monsters. Having Machina Fortress as your deck master has many benefits. The first time you summon your deck master from the deck master zone, it is free. The second time you summon your deck master from the deck master zone, it costs you 500 life points, and it just goes up from there. However, Machina Fortress can just lie in wait in the graveyard until you have the resources to summon him again, therefore avoiding you having to pay life points to summon your deck master. Because all that you need to summon Machina Fortress, specifically Special Summon, is to discard machine-type monsters whose total level equals 8 or more. So if you have a level 10 machine in your hand, you can just throw that into the grave and bring this bad boy out. Now, Machina Fortress gives me access to the Machina archetype, so let me show you what monsters specifically I'm playing from the Machina archetype. We're playing a Machina Defender. Machina Defender is really just there as a defensive body. It doesn't really do much else. I mean, it's a level 4 monster, so there's some Xyz plays. Then we have its upgraded form, the Machina Resavager. Machina Resavager is so much better than Machina Defender. You can discard it from your hand or send it from your field to the graveyard as a quick effect whenever to increase the attack of a Machina monster's attack by 1200. I'm playing a Machina Soldier who's, when he's summoned by himself, calls another Machina from your hand, and it can literally be any Machina. So Soldier's kind of goated. His somewhat upgraded form, Machina Possessed Storage, has a similar effect, but it grabs a Machina from the graveyard when it's summoned. The Machina Sniper is one of those monsters that says, while this is on the field, you can only target this guy for attacks. So, if you've got something that you can do a crazy lock with, then Sniper is definitely a good choice. It's also a level 4. Now for the normal summon of the deck. The Machina Gear Frame. On summon, it's able to search for any Machina monster and add it to your hand. And it can equip itself to one of your Machina monsters to protect that Machina monster from being destroyed. Next up is the Machina Unclaspare. On normal or special summon, this guy can send any Machina monster from your deck to the graveyard. This guy's great for dumping cards like Machina Citadel or Machina Rune Force into your graveyard, especially when you've got a lot of resources in your grave. If he's added to your hand except by drawing, you can special summon him, but he locks you into special summoning machine type monsters. But in a majority machine type deck, you don't really have to worry about that. Next up is a Machina monster I don't play too often, and that's the Machina Megaform. It's sort of like Machina Fortress transformed, and it has some stuff, but it's just there to get Rune Force for me, honestly. Same with the Machina Cannon. If you play Cannon as a strategy in Machina, like unironically, I question you, because Cannon's not that great. Then we're playing Machina Aerator. Machina Aerator is actually similar to Machina Fortress, and it can recruit any Machina monster whose total level is equal to or less than a targeted monster it's about to destroy. Machina Irradiator is similar to Aerator, but it does stuff with the graveyard, but I never do use Irradiator very often. Machina Metal Cruncher is like an upgraded form of my Machina gear frame, on summon it can reveal any 3 Earth type machines from your deck, and your opponent randomly chooses one to be added to your hand. So Metal Cruncher is actually a pretty solid Machina. And then obviously you have your boss monsters, your Machina Citadel, and the ruining of everybody's day, the Machina Ruin Force, the GOAT. He has a negate during the battle phase. He has 4,600 attack points, 4,100 defense points. All you need to do is banish machine-type monsters whose total level equals 12 or more from your graveyard. You can special summon him from the grave. And when he's destroyed, he special summons banished Machina monsters whose total level equals 12 or less from the banished. Ruin Force is a goated Machina and has won me countless games. Now onto the spells. We're playing Machina Defense Perimeter. It's, well, a defense perimeter. We're playing Machina Armored Unit. Not as good as Defense Perimeter, but it has its perks. Machina Redeployment. It's kind of the rotor of the deck. You ditch a card to search for some Machinas. You can ditch a Machina to grab 2 Machina cards. So say you've got a Ruin Force in hand and you don't want Ruin Force in hand, and you've already got Fortress on board, you can play Redeployment, discard that Ruin Force and search. And in Domain format, unless you're specifically playing a fire deck, or a deck that allows you to play multiple attributes, you don't have to worry about Ash Blossom. Maybe a counter trap or something, but nah, the majority of the time you're free to resolve. The trap card Machina Overdrive is just perfect. It does everything you need a Machina card to do. It special summons a Machina from your deck, it destroys a Machina, and it can shuffle back banished and in your graveyard machine type monsters, and then you get to draw a card. On to cards that more support the Machinas. We've got Clockwork Knight to turn everything into machines. Absolutely hilarious when you put this against someone whose deck specifically relies on their cards being a specific type. Limiter removal. If you don't play limiter removal in a machine deck, then you're crazy. An urgent schedule is a good way to get to those level 4s and those level 5 or highers when your opponent has too many monsters for you to cope with. So that's the Machina side of stuff. Let's dive into some of the more different stuff. So having access to Earth-type machines, and being the GX duelist I am, I'm obviously going to be playing the Ancient Gears. So we've got Ancient Gear Soldier, Ancient Gear Knight, Ancient Gear Frame, Ancient Gear Engineer, Ancient Gear Beast, Ancient Gear Hydra, Ancient Gear Reactor Dragon, Ancient Gear Golem, and Ancient Gear Golem Ultimate Pound. I will admit, the Ancient Gear engine of this deck is not what it could be. Partly because I don't own some of the cards, and partly just because I can't be bothered. For example, having Ancient Gears means I've got Ancient Gear Golem Ultimate Pound. Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem in the extra deck, but I've got no way of summoning it, and I don't care. It's just funny. So that's the Ancient Gear stuff. Then we're running a tiny cyber package, actually. We've got a Cyber Pharos, a Cyber Valley, a Cyber Dark Keel, and a Cyber Dark Edge, along with a Cyber Dragon. Again, this is all just like machine stuff to toss for Fortress, really, and to banish for Ruin Force. Then, for more of these supporting machines, we've got Swift Scarecrow. Discard him when your opponent declares a direct attack to end the battle phase. Swift Scarecrow, goated card. Saved me countless times. Card D. Haven't played it much, but you can summon it, sack it, draw 2. For funnies, we're playing Ambulance Roid. And we're also playing Truck Roid because we're playing Card Trooper for the mills. We're playing Scrap Recycler for the mill. And he's a slightly better summon than Gear Frame sometimes. We've obviously got to be playing our EMT. Can't be the Turtle King without the EMT. Then we've got a Cracking Dragon. Cracking Dragon is one of my favorite dragon-themed machine cards. It's not even that great. I just really like it. Oh, and then we're playing the legendary planet card, the Big Saturn. I love the Planet series. It is such a good series of cards. They're kind of bad, but they're also kind of good. Now, on to spell cards. We're playing Angel of Blue Tears. Deals 200 points of damage per card in an opponent's hand, which is pretty good. And it just has that Trickstar vibe to it, and that's why it's in the deck. We've got Monster Reincarnation to ditch a card to grab a monster back from the grave, so we can ditch a Citadel, grab a Gear Frame. We're playing Dark Hole to destroy all monsters on field because Dark Hole. We've got a Monster Reborn because Monster Reborn. Lightning Storm for either monsters or spell trap removal. Harpy's Feather Duster for spell trap removal. Quick play spells, we've got an enemy controller. We've got the Forbidden Dress, the Forbidden Lance, and the Forbidden Chalice, along with Magnet Reverse, Cosmic Cyclone, and for a continuous spell we have an Ancient Gear Castle. For trap cards, we actually only have 4 trap cards in the deck. One of those being Machina Overdrive, but the others are Jar of Avarice. Jar of Avarice allows you to grab back any 5 cards from the grave and shuffle them back into the deck and draw 1. This is really, really good for resource management. We've got a Quaking Mirror Force, because Quaking Mirror Force puts all your opponent's monsters in face down defense, rather than destroying them, and they can't flip them back face up. So it's kind of like a almost permanent, you're not doing anything with your monsters. And then one of my new favorite counter traps that's come out recently, Iron Thunder. It's kind of like Solemn Judgment, but with more destruction to it, and I just love it. Iron Thunder is just lovely. For the extra deck, we have a line of number 27, Dreadnought Dreadroid, one of my favorite number cards, and he always goes in any deck that he can fit into. If the deck has 2 level 4 monsters, he's in there. And then our giant boat goes into Gustav Max, the giant cannon, for that 2,000 points of burn damage. And then our giant cannon goes into a giant tank. And then our giant tank goes into a god, the Double A Zeus Sky Thunder. That is our Zeus lineup. We've also got a heavy armor train Iron Wolf as well, in case number 27 fails. We've got a number 41 Babushka. We can play Babushka because it's an Earth attribute monster, and Machina Fortress covers Earth. Then we've got Dingirsu, the Orchist of Evening Star. I've only played this card once or twice in TCG, but it's pretty funny what it does, so I like it. And then the 2 unsummonable monsters that we have in the extra deck, just because they're kind of like symbols in a way. We've got Cyber End Dragon, one of the most goated fusion monsters ever, and Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem for the Crowler vibes. And that has been my domain. It's not as optimized as it could be, but that's just how I roll. Casual, not competitive, but also always ready to destroy something. Good night.